Okay, so we're going to have this available on our YouTube after the fact, and then I'll try and keep an eye also on the waiting room as other people trickle in. But my name is Elizabeth Anderson. I am a board member with Missouri Community Betterment, but I also work for the University of Missouri Extension. I am an extension and engagement specialist, which is kind of this newer position that has been piloted over the last 8 to 9 months, where I work with several counties, working with their extension councils and other community engagement efforts. And so I'm going to get a little bit into that about what extension is, and then some really cool opportunities that are coming up this fall, available to folks across the state. So let's get started. So for any of you who aren't very familiar with the University of Missouri Extension, basically, the University of Missouri is a land grant institution, which means that back in the 1800s that the federal government gave every state a parcel of land for them to create an institution of higher learning in the state. And that's how the University of Missouri was founded. And then in the early 1900s, they came back and said that they were pleased that all these states had these great public learning institutions, but they wanted to make sure that that education was being spread to everybody in the state and not just the folks who could get to campus, especially with an emphasis at that time on agriculture and helping farmers across the state to be able to have a good livelihood and follow best practices with their farms and increase their yields and so on and so forth. So for over 100 years, the University of Missouri Extension has had offices across the state with faculty and staff from the university who offer practical education to all Missourians. So in all 114 of our counties in the city of St. Louis, we have extension councils, which are locally elected community members who work with those university faculty and staff to develop relevant and impactful programming. So those are people from all over each county. Each county is divided up into districts, and so they have to be residents of those different districts to make sure that any of the programming that we offer, any of the education that we share with people is helpful and relevant and helping to improve lives. You'll notice down here in the lower left-hand corner of my slides, this is our newest kind of how we're describing what we do, delivering it in a short and sweet manner is we serve Missouri and we deliver Mizzou. And so that's what we do across the state. So the different umbrellas that this education falls under has expanded over that last 100 years or so to include a lot of different areas of research and education. And so I'm going to go over some of those different educational areas for you. So ag and environment, that's where our roots really, really are. And that covers all kinds of education and specialists across the state that cover animal health and production, plant production and technology, agriculture, business and policy, and natural resources. So we provide lots of different education on that. I know, for example, tonight in Osage County, there's going to be a talk given with a couple different specialists about drought and what to do with your herd when hay is scarce and the ground is dry, and what we can do to help farmers make good business decisions, basically. Then we also have our Health and Human Sciences Department, and that covers a real wide range of things. And that we're talking about both external and internal health. So we have specialists across the state that focus on nutrition and activity. We have a lot of different kinds of programs. We've got some that are geared towards older adults that reduce their fall risk. And we've got some that are focused on low-income individuals and how to stretch their dollars and make healthy choices about the foods that they're eating. And some of them are even geared toward children. And then we've also got some of that internal health that we cover. We've got specialists who provide programming that have to do with mental health. We have mental health first aid. We have stress reduction. We have taking care of you. We have a lot of different programming for health and human sciences. Then we also have 4-H youth development, and 4-H is arguably one of our most recognizable forward-facing programs because there's lots of 4-H alumni all over the state, and 4-H is a national program and it's housed within Extension. And so that's where we work with youth to on positive youth development and helping them to increase their resilience and their different skills in a lot of different fields and do all different sorts of projects. I didn't grow up doing 4-H, but my kids are 4-H kids now, and I'm always impressed by the wide variety of projects they get to learn about and the life skills that it's teaching them. So we love 4-H. We also have a pretty large umbrella that covers business and communities. And in the business and communities department, we have faculty that focus mostly on business development through our small business development centers that are housed at different partner organization or education centers like Lincoln University or State Fair Community College and things like that. We have community development faculty. We have workforce development faculty. We also have MU executive education, and we have some regional economic development specialists. So that's across the state, people working on making sure that we've got, healthy communities, thriving communities, places that people want to live and quality lives and work for them. Then we also have community and professional health education, and that's actually our newest department. And that is a partnership between Extension and our School of Medicine. And so we've got continuing education for doctors and nurses and first responders that they offer, but they are also in the process of hiring several community health specialists across the state who work with our public health agencies and things like that. And then we also have first responder education, which I think is really valuable. It's another continuing education tool that we have that's housed in Extension, and they do law enforcement training, fire department training, emergency management training. And so those are the wide variety of things that Extension has to offer every community. So business and community is the department that I have the most familiarity with, because before moving into this extension and engagement position, I was a county engagement specialist in Osage County, and my emphasis area was in community development. And coming up this fall under that business and community umbrella, we have a couple different opportunities coming up that I find really exciting. And I work on both of these teams, and so I'm always ready to share the news about them to other people. And those two things are Neighborhood Leadership Academy, which is a course. It's a 10-week course that'll run from September 13th to November 15th. That'll meet once a week and culminates in a chancellor's certificate from the University of Missouri St. Louis. And then we've also got Connecting Entrepreneurial Communities, which is a really cool community-based conference that will be in Benton County this year, September 20th and 21st. And so I'm going to tell you guys a little bit more about both of those programs. So Neighborhood Leadership Academy has over a 20-year history. It was originally St. Louis based, but we're going into our 4th year of offering it as a statewide option. We do it virtually. We do our meetings on Zoom on Wednesday nights this year. But even though we're meeting online, we divide across the state into regional cohorts and pair those cohorts with community development faculty. So that there's a local face that they can kind of put with what they're learning. And there are some opportunities for in-person meetings with that, maybe just a couple throughout the course of those 10 weeks. And so there are over 400 alumni across the state who have participated in Neighborhood Leadership Academy over the years. And those participants, they range from folks who are just wanting to start being more involved in their neighborhood, that are maybe thinking, gee, I don't really know very many of my neighbors. Maybe I would like to hold a block party and get people together and get to know people more. Or, man, there's kind of a trash issue in this part of my town and I want to clean it up, but I can't do it by myself. And so I'd like to get people together and kind of build a organization that works on a beautification of my town. So it ranges from those people who are just getting started to people who've been building relationships for years in their communities and are involved in different organizations, but they maybe just want to sharpen or update their skill set on some areas that they maybe haven't had a chance to work on yet or want to improve. And the whole structure of Neighborhood Leadership Academy is that it's toolkit and project based. So we have a curriculum. Every participant gets some workbooks that have information in them and they can refer back to, and it culminates in a project that each participant designs. So as far as curriculum goes, as far as that toolkit goes, it's based on community building principles that are research based, tried and true, what really makes a community project and community development sustainable and feasible over time. We learn a lot about each participant's individual leadership strengths and how they benefit the organizations they're in, or how to work with other people to leverage different skill sets and different strengths for more impact. We learn how to connect with local government and stakeholders to help us go farther. We learn about resource development, how to fundraise and grant write and things like that. We learn about skills like asset mapping, action planning, and evaluation, and also coalition building, inclusion, and getting the word out. So there's all these really important skills and theories and things that are all kind of going in together to this 10-week course to help each individual participant really push the needle forward on where they are as an individual leader and what skills they have. The community project that I mentioned, each participant over the course of the class will develop a project that they'll pitch to their peers during the week 10 graduation. Each participant has the opportunity to apply for up to a $2,500 mini grant to get their project off the ground. So that's another skill in there, is learning how to write a grant. Which is really important. Projects can be brand new. It can be something that you develop over the course of that 10 weeks when you really start to think about what matters to you and what you're passionate about in your community. Or it can be something that's been brewing for a while and needs a little push. The projects of our participants have ranged, just like their expertise level when it comes to community development. They have ranged from community gardens and block parties to end-of-life care homes and health initiatives in their communities. There's no wrong way to do a community project, and we really love to have the participants learn from each other and bounce ideas off of each other and really help build a network and support each other in developing their communities and developing their own leadership skills. Ooh, sorry, I went backwards on that. So for Neighborhood Leadership Academy, we have a very generous grant through the Missouri Foundation for Health. So we have many scholarships available, and I'm going to go ahead and in the chat, I'm going to drop these links for everybody. Hang on one second. Let me escape out of my little view here. I'm going to stop my share real quick so I can put these links in the chat for you guys. But scholarships are available right now. That application is open until August 7th. So if you are an individual who would benefit from this class and you feel like you could use a scholarship, this link is the one to find. It's a Google form that you can fill out. Or if you know other individuals in your lives who could really benefit from this program, that is where I would direct them first, is to the scholarship link. But then you can also go to our regular registration page. Hang on one second. Let me pull up my toolbar real quick again. Okay. So, like I said, in the chat, there's that link to the application for scholarships. It closes August 7th. General registration is $325. That is available at the second link. We also welcome organizations who would like to sponsor some up and coming leaders in their community. So maybe there's an organization where that you know of that you may say, I know I as an individual can't commit to a 10-week course right now, but I do know that Jim in the Lions Club would actually probably really benefit from this or something. We welcome those folks to apply for scholarships, but we also welcome organizations to sponsor folks if they would like to invest in their members or employees who they feel would benefit from the curriculum that I described earlier. Just as a reminder, it is a 10-week course. It's September 13th through November 15th on Wednesday nights from 6 to 9 on Zoom, with some potential for some in-person meetings as well. Also, and I can add this to the chat at the end, there's an example of this, or you could probably actually add this right now. This is an example, or maybe I can't, I'll add it at the end. This is an example of one of our flyers that we are putting out there for folks who want to help people in their community get a start on their leadership skills. So the next thing that I want to talk to you guys about is connecting entrepreneurial communities. Connecting Entrepreneurial Communities is a unique community-based conference. Instead of it being a regular conference where you might go to a hotel or a conference center and you've maybe got a keynote in a ballroom and then you've got breakouts in other little smaller meeting rooms, the breakouts for Connecting Entrepreneurial Communities are actually in businesses in the communities where the conference is based, so that you get education, but you're also potentially giving some economic impact to the communities. I know I for sure have done this when I've attended the conference before. You know, one of the conferences may be in a coffee shop, and so maybe I show up a little bit early and I get a coffee and a cookie. Or some were in a boutique last year when we were in Herman, and I definitely went back after breakouts that evening and got a cute shirt and things like that. So it's a really cool, really immersive conference that we have. This is the third year. In 2021, it was in Hannibal. In 2022, it was in Herman. And in 2023, it's in Benton County, Missouri. And we're actually scouting the finalists right now for 2024 for our location. So communities can apply to be the hosts for the conference for the next year, which I think is really cool. And we figure that out by doing these like site visits and meeting in the community and meeting with folks in the, say, the Chamber of Commerce or city government or things like that. So the way we put this conference together is we have an MU Extension team of folks who are focused on the conference, but we also pull together a local team. Again, like I said, it's usually someone who's involved in the Chamber of Commerce or the Department of Tourism. They help kind of pull together their local team of folks that they would like to work with. And it can be local small business owners and all different kinds of people from around the community. And that local team, they get together to help plan the conference as well. And so we meet together and separately over the course of the whole year to get the conference ready for that fall. We identify spaces around the town that would be good for the breakouts. The local team gets together and pulls together sponsorships from local businesses and organizations. And we work together to gather speakers on different topics like community development, youth development, business development resources, things like that. They have to submit an application for the RFP, and we select speakers for our breakouts. The past 2 years in Herman and Hannibal, we actually referred to the conference as Creating Entrepreneurial Communities. And this year it's there was built in the idea of this evolution from creating to connecting entrepreneurial communities, which is why this year the location is a county rather than just a city, because we're moving the conversation along from how do we just make one town great to how do we get towns to work together, and then eventually counties to work together in a regional manner to create a whole state that's supportive of entrepreneurial activity. And that's the whole, what we want to learn from the conference is how do we develop communities that foster entrepreneurial growth and their connection to each other. Benton County this year, the theme is altogether different, because all of these communities work together in a really interesting and cool way to make the county a destination for people to go to. It's a little northwest of the Lake of the Ozarks. Warsaw is right where Truman Lake and Lake of the Ozarks meet. And so the different elements of the conference actually are going to move from town to town. We're going to have an event in Lincoln. We're going to have breakouts in both Cole Camp and Warsaw throughout those different communities, and learn from people in all of those different towns about how the county works together to really build that entrepreneurial spirit and network. And this year, another thing that's altogether different is our local team has really pulled together some interesting pre-conference events, because it is a short conference. It's just begins midday on Wednesday and goes until lunch on Thursday. And so the local team felt like they really wanted to highlight more in the county and give people things to do and kind of entice them to stay a little bit longer. So there's actually an event the night before, All Things Western. That's the one in Lincoln. And it's kind of like there's going to be roping and like a chuck wagon dinner and things like that. It'll be a cool networking event the night before the conference. And then that morning, if they want to spend the night beforehand, depending on how far they're traveling, they've arranged a lot of really great local industry tours, historical tours, and outdoor activities. They've got kayaking, they've got biking, they've got golf that people can sign up for and do that morning before they start the conference off and with their luncheon. Registration is open. It's early bird until the end of the month. So right now it's just $125, and after the 31st, it'll go up to $150. And that is the link right there for that. And I can share that in the chat as well. Let me grab that link. There that is in the chat. And that you can go to that link to register. And if you actually go to that registration site, oops, sorry, I'm flipping back and forth here, but I wanted to show you the actual registration page because it's chock full of information. This is the main landing page of the registration. And when you click on this registration button right here, it pulls through, and we've got all this information on the landing page. We've got the agenda if you wanted to look at what activities and breakout sessions are available, the different topics that they're going to be covering. There's a lot of really good information there. Also there's the information about the lodging info that's on registration. This is another one of those where some folks, they can't get away from work or from their communities, and that's totally understandable. But if you wanted to share that with your communities, I highly encourage it. I can also send out this flyer that we have for it as well, with the little QR code on there for folks who might be interested in registering and participating in the conference. I think it's a really unique, special thing and really highlights our different small communities around Missouri. Also, I wouldn't be doing my job fully if I didn't also put in a plug for Extension Council. There are opportunities to serve across the state, no matter what town, no matter what county you live in. There is an Extension Council in your county And we always are looking for more people to join our team and to help us develop our local programs. This little QR code takes you to a site that has a form on there that's geared more towards the East Central region. But if you live in other parts of the state and you are interested in extension and want some more information, you can always reach out to me and I can direct you to the correct person. And this is my contact information right there too. That is all I have to share, but I am able to answer any questions that you guys might have about these opportunities or about other resources that you might be interested in.